Sam Altman reportedly declaring a code red internally at OpenAI, being in direct response to the Gemini 3 launch.
You can definitely still imagine a world where OpenAI becomes this thing of the past. They helped kind of pioneer this, but then obviously the big guys just took over and just demolished. Can AI even be regulated?
Welcome to the Heavy AI Podcast, where the future's forging iron and code.
Hello and welcome to the Heavy AI Podcast, the podcast where we explore the intersection of AI, technology, and industry. I'm Paul, he's Brad, and together we've built Heavy, your AI-powered contract administration platform. How's things going in the lead up to the silly season, Christmas, New Year, Brad? It seems to be a bit of a mad dash that's slowed down a little bit with all the model releases in the last little week or so.
Yeah, from an AI perspective, I think, they all had their deadlines and then they launched everything, and it hasn't been too much in the way of new stuff, but
Yeah, it's like
if a week of not having anything revolutionary new is slow in the AI world, then
it's slow. It's a slow news week. Yeah.
yeah, we've got an interesting standard.
Yo,
News of the week, changing life with every tweet. Tomorrow's here inside its peak. Tuned into AI news of the
jumping into our AI news for the week. The first one is a bit of a follow-on from Gemini 3's drop, which is Sam Altman reportedly declaring a code red internally at OpenAI, being in direct response to the Gemini 3 launch. In some of the stats that has been leaked is there's been a 6% decline in daily active users since the Gemini 3 release. And so, apparently they've called a code red. So we need to focus in on building our core product and improving our core product rather than going off and doing all this other fancy stuff on the side and releasing new products. It's like, no, let's make the core fundamental platform the best fundamental model.
No, 100%. And I mean, they should be worried because at the end of the day, the core platform is the only thing that keeps people in their ecosystem, whereas Google has search, has G Suite, every other
G Suite,
every other thing
Workspace, YouTube.
and that just gives them amazing distribution. I mean, even phones, having that, owning the operating system, even Chrome, just ways to embed their AI into the way everyone already works. It's hard to compete with that, and if they also have even a decent AI model, let alone the best one.
I saw that GPT's done some embeddings with Shopify, so they're now trying to bring in more shopping features into just natively GPT to try and not necessarily be that operating system or browser, but just have everything embedded directly in the chat. And I think that they have seen some early screenshots of some ads dropping. And I saw one the other day that was I'm talking about some hardware design or operating system thing, and it was underneath it there was just an ad for Target. And it's I don't know if it was a meme or I've been played by AI, but obviously they're looking at Google's ad cash flow and how do we get some of that in our side of the fence.
It's interesting because I would think that the running ads would actually be the opposite of what they want to do right now. They want to make the experience as good as possible so that people love ChatGPT and use it instead of switching to a Gemini or something. But I mean, obviously if they're actually looking for something to buy, then yes.
I think we're probably not the standard ChatGPT user, because if they've got 800 million daily active users, and I think there's something 10% of them are on a paid plan, so 90% of them are on a free plan. And from a monetization perspective, we're obviously personally giving ChatGPT money for our subscriptions and then professionally giving them a bunch of money from our API work. It's how can they monetize the free stuff, because Google's monetizing the free stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Well, they've said that they're not going to turn a profit till was it 2030 or later or something like that.
2030, which is well past their AGI deadline, according to like the latest updated deal with Microsoft as well.
No, that's it. So yeah,
So
we'll
they're
see.
kind of conflicting in their own right to be like, oh, we'll release AGI in 2028, but we still won't be profitable until 2030.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. You can definitely still imagine a world where OpenAI becomes this thing of the past. And everyone goes, "Oh wow!" Like they helped kind of pioneer this, but then obviously the big guys just took over and
Yeah.
just demolished the market. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, let's keep on keeping on and keep watching and keeping our ear to the ground. I think, like I remember last year they had like their OpenAI 12 days of shipmas where they were like shipping a new feature or product for 12 days in a row, leading into the end of December. And so I'm like, wondering what's coming down the pipeline. Like we personally know that the models need a bit of work. So hopefully there's some updates in there. And I know that like there's a couple of those other features, like, where it was the browser or the different like agentic workflow stuff or the Pulse updates that like were nice to have that have sort of just like died in the ass, or at least the buzz has definitely dried up. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
No, totally. I think, that's like you said at the start, like all these extra little features around the edges are things that are not going to really move the needle. They're going to need to just do another model update that's like GPT-6, which is actually better than GPT-5, because 5 wasn't that much better than 4.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look at the other side of like the if you look at comparing OpenAI to other foundation model companies, like the only one to sort of direct compare it to is Anthropic, because all the others are just like hyperscalers in themselves, being Google, Meta, and even let's say X is a like hyperscaler already because it's got the Twitter data already. And Anthropic is like tripled down and doubled down on only the foundation model and not having any of the good like fancy features or app layer stuff around the outside.
And also they've specialized. They've said we're going to be the best at coding and connecting to things. And that's, I think, going to mean that they can survive in a world where big players are doing the mass market stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we might be on next week's pod, but I think Anthropic just hired some lawyers that are like IPO lawyers, so they might be like trying to race OpenAI to go public versus see if they can get access to some more cash to keep spending.
Yes, yeah,
as well. And jumping to a quick update for our Australian audience, which I'm assuming is probably most people, but you never know in these days. But yeah, like obviously AI regulation is a big thing in every country, in every region. And Australia did release a bit of an update on their national AI plan, which is essentially like, hey, like we're just going to keep on keeping on and not have any large AI laws. Everything's just going to like use the existing laws, whether it's privacy, consumer, etc. They're going to set up a new AI safety institute with $30 million of funding to watch risks and give advice, but it won't have the power to punish anyone. So essentially, like it's keep on keeping on, nothing to see here. Like it's going to be interesting to see if there is big investment into Australia with some sovereign AI data centers or whatnot moving forward. But at the moment, it sort of seems to be a bit of a sit back and let it play out versus be too proactive and throw a bunch of money into it.
No, for sure. It's almost mirroring what the private sector is doing as well. When when ChatGPT first came out, everyone was, once they kind of found out about it 6 months later, they just locked everything down. And that was kind of Australian government's view as well, as like, oh, we're going to have to put up these hectic laws to make sure that, the world doesn't end because of AI. And then after a year or two of just kind of living with it while trying to get this stuff together, they realized the world didn't fall apart. And then now companies and government alike are going, okay, well, actually this has a lot of opportunity. We want to be competitive in this. Let's just keep letting it play.
Yeah. Like one for either a myth or an FAQ down the track as well would be like, can AI like rule? Can AI be a government, or can AI be a part of a government as a full agent? Because I think there's some like not tier 1 countries that have started to do some of that, like with AI governors for specific roles.
Cool.
I'll have to look them up and bring that to the show.
Yeah, that's a good one to talk about. I thought you were going to say, can AI even be regulated?
Well, yeah, that too.
The whole
Keeps me running, keeps me sleek. It's my compass, my guide, my street. Tool of the week.
Okay, jumping into our AI tool this week. And today we're going to talk all things vibe coding with Lovable. So I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive on Lovable and a bit of a personal use case that I've done in the last week. And I know, like, I'm the less technical of the two of us, so I'm probably much more of a Lovable fan than Brad, because Brad used Cursor and all the other more technical agentic coding platforms.
And I still love Lovable.
But yeah.
But yes,
I guess for the less AI native than us, Lovable is like agentic like software developer, so to speak, where it's prompt to website, prompt to landing page, prompt to web app, prompt to software. So if you go to Lovable, the website, and then give it a description of what you're looking to build, it'll start building it for you. Connect to a backend database, connect to authentication, connect to a bunch of stuff, and so you can build some really cool things. So this week I listened to the Hamish and Andy podcast in Australia religiously, and last week they were doing their end of year wrap show for 2025. And as part of their sort of going through the wrap up of whether things are going to peter out or continue to be worked on in the new year, they mentioned a Hamish and Andy board game, and that was going to be a peter out, and like, we'll just we'll just put it to the basket and let it sit there. I thought, okay, like, I was in the gym, how quickly can I like do a bunch of deep research, do a bunch of other like quick agentic workflows, and then just throw it into a Lovable to build a like mock-up prototype web app of a Hamish and Andy board game. And so I think it was probably a couple of hours later, and 35 odd chat prompts between 3 different tools, and then end up landing in Lovable. I built the Hamish and Andy, like unofficial Hamish and Andy web app interactive game, which you can go to at hamishandandy.games. It's now live and free to play and mess around with. And I think it was pretty cool. Like, I did a massive deep research on like the lore of Hamish and Andy, like what are all the inside jokes and the sayings that like everyone has as part of the show. Get all the brand guide and identity from their website, etc., and then package all that up, throw it into Lovable, and then start off with, say, a landing page that is about what we're building, and then actually go through and be like, okay, how do I build out this game? And then prompt by prompt, just say, okay, I want a like Monopoly style board. I want interactive, like every time you roll the dice, I want the dice to look like a dice. Every time you move, it should move the icon to the right square, and then each square has its own like unique pop-up interactive little web app game that's to do with the Hamish and Andy ecosystem. And so I was able to do that from scratch in, I'm going to say, like less than probably 2 hours of actual screen time and computer time. And most of that was in Lovable.
Yeah, it's huge. It's amazing what Lovable lets you do just with prompts. Like, you can look at the code now in it and stuff, but you just don't. You don't need to usually. It really has like opened up what non-coders can build.
Yeah, and I think that the big one for me is the now that like they did have like integrations with Superbase for backend database and stuff, but now that's like natively in Lovable Cloud, so they've got a built-in backend that you just have to turn on, give it permissions. You can like set up your database tables, set up your user authentication, set up your different profiles, and so like you can go from like anyone can vibe code a nice looking landing page that looks good, but likely doesn't function. But now like going through that to actually setting up a back end that actually works, has been sort of democratized quite a bit as well.
No, absolutely. Like, mate, that's something where they are still ahead. I think we tested out Google's version of that. Essentially, it's like a Lovable clone, and it works for a landing page, but it doesn't have all that back end infrastructure setup stuff natively in there yet. So for now, Lovable is still the leader in their space.
The other one, the other ones that we talk about, I think the other ones are like the Vercel version, which is like V0 that I haven't used yet. Bolt and Replit, I think early days. Did you play with Replit
Yeah.
at all as well?
Yeah, I use Bolt and Replit to test them
So yeah,
both
so
out.
I guess if anyone's all the
I was
same,
just gonna say, yeah, that Replit was already the like cloud IDE, like the place where you go and type code in, build apps online as opposed to on your desktop. And then they just went hard adding AI features to that existing platform. So it was maybe a little bit more complex than like a Lovable or a Bolt or something. And I think, I don't know, I just using Lovable versus Bolt. I think Lovable just seemed better to me. And I don't know, I've heard more about them than I have about Bolt since then as well. So
yeah.
I'm imagining that they're just growing faster.
So if you're looking to spin up a quick website or landing page, or even like play around with building your own web app for some discrete use case, jump on Lovable, have a play. I think it costs like $25 a month for like the base model, which gets you a bunch of cloud credits and stuff as well. So it's definitely worth having a play.
For sure.
Answering your AI FAQs, the things I can and cannot do. Ask me once, ask me twice. I don't eat chips, but I'll give advice.
It's a good segue into our FAQ this week, which is all about vibe coding. And can you just vibe code anything? Brad, can you just like throw a bunch of prompts into a Lovable or an equivalent software agent and spin up anything?
So, like most things, but the problem is that none of them will have the kind of security or like professionalism, enterprise grade infrastructure setup that you need probably in a business environment. So for a personal,
Yeah, I think
personal project, for sure, you can do pretty much anything. There's probably some pretty complicated algorithm type stuff that the AI won't be as good at, but I'm sure it'll get there in the next few months. So, but yeah, it's the enterprise grade stuff that you won't just be able to do in Lovable.
I think it's like the classic answer for most of those sort of questions. It's like it depends. It depends if you if you want it to be a fully authenticated with role-based access control and deployed into a large enterprise with various compliance hurdles and security tests and like penetration testing and stuff. Like the answer is going to be no at this stage. But yeah, if you just want to vibe code a fun little game to play with your kids, or vibe code a fun website that you can aggregate a bunch of photos from a wedding or something, like, hey, just spin up a page and then everyone can just shoot stuff together and like collaborate on a project together. You can definitely spin up stuff. And like the go-to ones that you just see so many around are just like the app layers, which are just a prompt wrapper on cool foundation models already.
Yeah.
So like the common ones are just building a specific niche vertical of a image generator. So like, oh, you can only use this for cartoon, like say South Park style cartoon generations. And so it'll just be a very big system prompt.
Yes.
And so you can only need to put in one thing and you're going to get this very defined output.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think overall it's like Excel. As engineers, we know you can build a lot of things in Excel, like a lot of business systems. You can, as an engineer, just like build an Excel version of that.
Build an Excel version. Yeah.
And that's kind of what Lovable will let you do now, is like you can build your own version, but like the enterprise is not going to adopt that Excel model that you made as their like source of truth of data or anything like
payroll
that.
system.
Yeah, exactly, for payroll. So that's where you're still going to have this difference between enterprise grade stuff and stuff that people have vibe coded.
Busting, tearing it down. Every lie, every fear spun around. We're not the villains, not the crown. AI myth busting, true profound. True profound.
That's a good segue to our myth this week, which is that you can just spin up and vibe code a workflow or an app and deploy it into your business very quickly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think that's basically what we've just been saying is it's a bit of it's a myth that you can that you can do anything at the enterprise level.
I think, yeah, even at the small tier of town, like there's so much, and even just like in everything that I've done within Lovable or other vibe coding tools or even building like the node based workflows for a like N8N or a Make or a Zapier workflow. There's never been like a one shot, one prompt, it just works. So you're always having to like iterate it and like refine, fix, look at bugs, update. Oh, this thing's now broken, or there's been a model update, so you need to move the API connector to here. Like, so the idea that you can just spin up and vibe code a quick workflow that's agentic and just makes your life easier, isn't exactly there yet. Like, it's very close, and you can get like say 80% of the way there with a bunch of refinement. It'll get you to close to where you want to go. So it's definitely worth experimenting and playing with. But just the idea that you can one shot something and then deploy it into your business. And now you've replaced a whole admin function because I've just vibe coded a virtual receptionist that will answer my phone and take reservations for me is not quite there yet.
No, exactly. I think the myth is that even just more broadly, that you can build software once and then it just works forever.
It works.
Software needs to be maintained. That's packages that are used as dependencies for any software app are constantly being upgraded for security improvements and things like that. And you need to be constantly looking at those as new vulnerabilities that are detected and the new fixes that are there to solve them, and continually upgrading things. So yeah, that's why just thinking, I'm going to build this software myself once, it's going to cost this much or it's going to take this much time, and that's going to be better than paying for something off the shelf is not quite how it works.
I think it's definitely something that we can explore another day, is the whole build versus buy around software as well. But yeah, we'll leave that for another show. The other thing I was just thought of there was the recent like Cloudflare and Cloudflare and AWS outages, which like brought down large portions of the internet. Everything has fundamental dependencies on system architecture and databases and cloud providers that you can't just like spin up something and it just, because it's all cloud-based and it's all digital. It's not a physical thing that, hey, I've built this hardware system that just a hammer is a hammer and it works. It's like software is software and it likely works, but may not.
Yeah, it's always a service somewhere, even if that's just a service for the infrastructure it's running on.
Epic. Well, that's it for us today. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. And if you'd like to learn more about Heavy, jump on over to heavy.app, and thanks for listening and have a great day.